One evening, my wife, Emily, came home from work and casually mentioned that she'd be heading to the hospital in 5 days. "I've got a minor stomach issue, and the doctor thinks it's better for me to stay in the hospital for a couple of weeks," she said, her voice a little quieter than usual. I was caught off guard but not entirely shocked. I knew she had been in pain for a while, and I had already urged her to see a gastroenterologist. I assumed it wasn't anything too serious. Over the next few days, Emily wrapped up things at work, and we agreed that I'd visit her every evening after my shifts. Honestly, I was feeling pretty down about it, and yeah, a little anxious. The night she checked in, I made sure to bring her everything she needed. "I miss you already," I told her. "I hate the thought of coming home to an empty apartment." I gave her a kiss on the cheek, trying to keep things as normal as possible. She stayed in the hospital for just over 2 weeks. At first, she was excited to see me, but over time, I noticed a change. The warmth she had at the beginning seemed to fade, and I started to feel a strange distance between us. I didn't think much of it at the time, I just chalked it up to her being bored. But looking back, I should have paid closer attention. When she was finally discharged, I was ecstatic. I'd spent the day cleaning the house in preparation for her return. The doctor had advised Emily to stick to a special diet, so I made sure I had everything she could and couldn't eat ready for her. I went all out to make her week on sick leave as comfortable as possible. "You're really trying your best," she said when I brought her home. I replied, "Just rest, I want you to make a full recovery." Eventually, Emily felt better and returned to work. I thought our little health scare was over, and everything was getting back to normal. But it turned out that wasn't the case. Out of the blue, I got a call from a strange woman who insisted we meet. She wouldn't tell me much over the phone, just that the information was important. I was taken off guard but agreed to meet her during my lunch break at the mall near my office. When I arrived, she was already waiting. "Good afternoon," she said, not wasting any time. "This is about your wife." The woman, Laura, showed me a photo of a doctor with his arms around Emily. She told me she was a nurse on the ward where Emily had stayed for those 2 weeks. Laura had observed the doctor and Emily getting pretty close and suspected they were still seeing each other. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, feeling a mix of confusion and frustration. "Well, Daniel, the doctor, had been showing me attention before your wife even arrived. But once she showed up, he switched his focus to her," Laura said, going on about how great of a guy Daniel was. But honestly, I didn't care about her drama anymore. I was piecing things together, remembering Emily's distance in the hospital and the faint scent of men's cologne I'd noticed one evening when I came home. There were a few other little things that had been bugging me too. By the end of the workday, I was barely holding it together, just wanting to get home. But Emily wasn't there yet. She came in later than usual. From the moment she walked through the door, she started talking about how much work had piled up during her time off. I stayed quiet, listening, then I asked her straight out, "Emily, just level with me. If you've already found someone better, what do you need me for? Why keep playing this game? Just tell me you want a divorce." She froze, her eyes wide with surprise. Maybe even fear. "What are you talking about?" she asked, looking confused. "Cut the act," I said. "I know all about your doctor." She didn't say anything, just stared at the floor. "If you're seeing him, then go be with him. Why bother hiding it? I'm not going to beg you to stay. Pack your stuff and go live with him." But I'm not ready for this," she stammered. "What exactly are you waiting for? You want me to just ignore what's going on and pretend everything's fine while you're still seeing him? Is that it?" With tears and snot, Emily started packing her things. She stepped out onto the balcony to make a phone call, but I don't think anyone answered. She didn't leave that night, but stayed in another room, crying the whole time. I could hear her sobbing until the early hours. By the next day, it was Saturday, and she finally left. On Monday morning, I filed for divorce. No celebration on my part, but honestly, she needed to face the consequences of what she'd done. As for Emily, she ended up moving in with a friend. Word got around that things didn't work out with that doctor. Apparently, Daniel was pretty shocked when she showed up at his place, and things quickly went south. Their relationship only lasted about a month. Meanwhile, I got promoted at work. I haven't found a new girlfriend yet, honestly. I'm just living for myself and doing pretty damn well. But one thing's for sure, life has a funny way of throwing curveballs, and it's wise to stay alert and pay attention to even the smallest details. You never know what's going on behind the scenes.